My friends, this is MLive Chief Meteorologist Mark Torgrosso. Welcome to the MLive Morning Weather Update. We're going to talk about a lot of weather here. We've got some weather here in Michigan. We're a showery day again in places. I'll go over that with you. It's lake effect rain showers. And then we have a frost coming. I'm going to go over that with you. And I'm going to go over with you that more in detail as we get into my posts on MLive. And of course, we're going to be watching the hurricane. Do I look a little nervous? I should. My wife and I, we own a home right in the hurricane area, vacation rental type home. And so, yeah, we're watching it. It's protected as it's going to be, and it's going to do what it's going to do. And you might see me in the days or week ahead reporting from there on the damage. So we're going to talk about that because I know a lot of folks go to Florida or have places in Florida and all that good stuff. Hey, Tim Hall, good morning. You're checking in from uh, Florida too. All right, so what we have is the colder circulating air across the warm Great Lakes, and that's the classic lake effect pattern. And that pattern of more solid shower activity in the northern half of the state and northeastern half of the state will shift south and then swing southeastward through the day. So in some places you're not seeing the rain right now, like Lansing, Ann Arbor, Detroit, but you may get into spottier showers as you get in the afternoon. Let's give you the first off the overall big picture of what's going to happen this week here in Michigan. And it goes like this. We're going to go with a showery, cool day today, and then we're going to start to deal with the frost Thursday morning, and then dry out, sunshine comes, and warmer temperatures on the way. All right, so here we go. So this is this morning into afternoon, this afternoon and this evening. And these are 6 hour rainfall. So you can basically see it just swings southeast and swings through the area tonight. That keeps us in the clouds, keeps us out of frost tonight. The blue lines, those are colder temperatures aloft at about 5,000 feet. And so that means the colder air is continuing to pour in on Wednesday. Wednesday, the thumb, still the spotty lake effect showers, and on a straight north wind, parts of the south end of Lake Michigan, and maybe even around Grand Traverse Bay into Wednesday. Hey, good morning, Teresa D'Aliosio. Hopefully, I got that one right. Downriver. And good morning, Margaret Winnie from Benzonia. And Susan Pendergrass. Good morning from Holland. All right, then we get into Thursday, and the weather gets nice after a frosty morning. Look at Thursday. Look at Friday. Friday, that's a beautiful fall day. Saturday, that's a beautiful weekend fall day. Sunday, that's beautiful. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So we're really going to put together a great stretch of fall weather with sunshine, cool mornings, relatively warm afternoons coming up after we shake this storm system on us right now. So, a little closer of a look at the high resolution rapid refresh radar forecast today. Let's fast forward it to noon or so, okay? I don't think it shows you exactly where everything will be located, but what you should get out of this is the northern half of the state will be showery up through noon, and the southern half of the state, this is 3 o'clock, 4, 5 o'clock this afternoon. The showers get into the southern half of the state during the afternoon and evening hours. And yeah, it could downpour. Nothing severe, but certainly a cold, wet rain on the way. And as we go toward the evening, it tends to then shrink to just your pure lake effect on a north wind. Douglas Kirkpatrick, any effect from the hurricane? Not directly at the moment. That's a very good question because typically what hurricanes will do as they hit the southeast part of the US is they will warm Michigan up. This one really isn't holding together, going to hold together once it hits landfall. It'll kind of fall apart. So not really any direct impact, and the rainfall doesn't look like it right now that it will make it to us. All right, high temperatures today. Put the sweater on. Um, you know, 50s to near 60 in Ann Arbor and the Detroit area near 60. And then tomorrow, high temperatures only in the 50s. We'll call it mid 50s a lot of places, southern lower Michigan. And then Thursday the sun does come back. Lynn Rosebush from Bay City. To highs about 60, and then Friday it's mid 60s, a lot of places 65, 66. Like I said, Friday looks gorgeous. Saturday looks 68 to 70 in many places. Sunday, southern, at least southern half a lower, near 70, and then Monday near 70. Tuesday starting to creep into the 70s. And Wednesday, upper 60s to low 70s. And then next Thursday, out there a distance, but you can see the 70s coming into the area. So we do have some very nice weather on the way, but frost probably first. Not for tomorrow morning. Too many clouds and showers around. Okay. And then Shannon Grahams, I have some painting outside to do. Was worried we were going to go straight into winter. No, before I get into the frost, let me just vent for a moment here. No, you still have plenty of time. Time is ticking, so don't wait till the last minute like a lot of folks do. But you got some great painting weather coming up next week. Dry and not too hot, not too cold. Now, already on Twitter this morning, I've been called out by a guy, and he said, "Hey, what happened to the warm October we were supposed to have?" And I said, "Hmm, did I hit my head and wake up and October's over?" And he was like, "Well, it's so chilly right now." Well, it's been chilly for a couple of days in late September. That doesn't mean the October warmer than normal forecast is wrong. And in October still looks warmer than normal. But remember, warmer than normal, average for 31 days, doesn't mean you can't have a frost or whatever. And it doesn't mean warm because the temperatures are falling in October, but I still believe it'll be warmer than normal. All right. Sorry. Off my soapbox now. Send me a bill. Then we're going to get to the hurricane stuff here in just a moment for those that are interested. And we'll look at that in depth. All right. Um, these are the low temperature forecasts for Thursday morning. Now, I think these might be a couple of degrees too warm everywhere. So when you see Grand Rapids at 39, I would uh maybe expect 37, which isn't a frosty temperature in urban areas of Grand Rapids where there's a lot of pavement, a lot of houses and whatnot radiating off heat. You get out into the open country, yeah, maybe a light frost. And you get to the Saginaw area where it shows 36, that's a 34. That's a frost. Again, maybe not in the neighborhoods right up against your house, but you could certainly pick any tomatoes that are ripe right now. And if there's something like, for me, one of my key crops that I grow to make it through the winter is basil. And I've learned over the years that any frost touches that and it turns to mush. You can usually dry it out after that because the taste of basil comes from the leaves and whatnot. But something like that, I'd probably cover or cut because it's pretty well done growing in size. But so we're marginal in southern lower Michigan on picking the stuff because if you can cover something over, throw a tarp over the tomatoes. This is not a hard freeze, I don't think. And then you got another week or more of sunshine on the way. All right, here we go. Um, let's talk about the hurricane. Hurricane, I'm not really sure if they're calling it Ian or Ian. I know an Ian and I know an Ian, and I know it's mostly pronounced Ian, but the guy that I know that's Ian always wants to be pronounced Ian. So, nonetheless, Hurricane Ian is moving across Cuba right now and coming out into the open water. It's a strong hurricane, and there's been some shifting. So, for example, my wife and I, we have a place near Inglewood. It's called Rotunda West. It's called Placida. Um, South of Venice, south of Inglewood, and everything's shifting southward. So, those of you that have an interest from anywhere in the Tampa Bay area, south through Sarasota, Bradenton, south through Venice, south through Inglewood, Port Charlotte, um, south to Fort Myers, even now, uh, you're going to want to stay updated on this. So, here we go. Best place to stay updated. They are the experts. They do the best job. They even beat all the models by several miles in accuracy on track. The best place to go is nhc.noaa.gov or just search National Hurricane Center. You'll come to this map. There's the hurricane, and then you come to the page uh, for all of the hurricane statistics and whatnot. And then, you know, first to start, you can always go to this warnings cone static images map. Let me see if I can get it so you can see it. Okay. And there you see the forecast track. Now, it kind of gives you a big picture, but it doesn't really zoom in for you. So I like to go over here to this interactive map and use that because we can zoom in. I toggle on the track, and that is what that track is that is their forecast of where they think the center will most likely be. And then you see the cone around it, and it's been called the cone of uncertainty. I like to look at it as 66% of all storms will wind up in that cone. So 33% still wind up outside of the forecast cone. So that still shows you, quite a bit of error in it. All right, so here we go. Now we can hit the plus button and zoom in and scroll. Hopefully you can see this all pretty good. I think you can. Okay, is everybody getting this? Okay, yes, Larry Pusker. Venice. All right, so let's get her so we can see it pretty good. So the new track is forecasting the center to come at, I would call it near Sarasota, between Sarasota and St. Petersburg. That's the new track, okay? So the hurricane warnings have been extended all the way down southward, actually through Naples area, looks like now. All right, so that is the track. Now, let's look at a couple of models. Let's look at the European. Let's look at the GFS model. European has been pretty much steadfast on taking the eye toward the Tampa area. The GFS, which is a good model as it gets closer, has wobbled in the run overnight. And for those of you that have interest in Inglewood, Venice, Rotunda West, Cape Hayes, Placida, Port Charlotte, the GFS change, not a good one. So here we go. See what we have. What you're seeing is the rainfall and the system. I'm just going to give you the big picture. You can go to the Hurricane Center for the wind forecast, but this is the European. So this is tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon, and tomorrow night. So it now brings the eye onshore about, I would call it Venice to Sarasota. What you see in the purple there is the very heavy rainfall, 6-hour rainfalls. So the rainfall, the heaviest rainfall in this is expected to be to the west and north of the track up into the Tampa area. And then it brings it across Florida, heavy rain, and weakens it. Now, let's look at the GFS. And I'll get it in a good perspective for you. So, what we're looking at here now is the US model. And remember, it has historically in the last few years been better than the European, but the European has been better this time. The GFS has kept it out into the water, up into the Florida Panhandle until it started to curve it toward the south and east. Still a lot of time for change in track, but it appears as though all the trends are not in favor of Venice, not in favor of Sarasota, not in favor of Inglewood and Port Charlotte, Rotunda West. So here we go. Here's the GFS. This is the run. This is what we call the 6Z run. So started at 2 a.m. this morning. This is the latest one that we have. And look at the wobble and look at where it brings the eye on. It brings it on right at Inglewood, Port Charlotte, Rotunda West, what we call the Cape Hayes Peninsula. One thing you will also notice now, these are the wind speed forecasts in there, wind gusts, something like that. I don't want to forecast gusts, but they're more than hurricane force. Okay. Uh-oh. Sorry, hold on. Test 1, 2. Oh, okay. You should be able to hear me. Yeah, okay. All right. I see a couple of people can't hear me. Must be something on your end because it appears as though I'm showing up. Okay. So, um, now this would be catch 22. This appears to be, hmm, let's see. I don't know why you can't hear me. All right. I don't know if you can hear me now. Um, okay. All right, so you do sound okay. I'm sorry. A few people got on there can't hear, and all of a sudden I thought, okay, oh well. All right, so here we go back. GFS model. We get this one every 6 hours. Here's the good and the bad with this. The good is it appears to want to weaken it as it approaches, and the National Hurricane Center has been talking about this all along. There is there is an area of dry air in the mid levels and an area of wind shear that is coming toward the hurricane. And all along, it was expected to get to the hurricane at some point. If the solution had been the panhandle, they figured that dry air and shear would get to the hurricane before it got to the panhandle, and it would weaken it some, not totally collapse it. It's still a possibility, but I think what is happening with the GFS is it's slowing it down a little bit, allowing the dry air and the wind shear to get into it. So it's kind of a catch 22. Here I sit, I'm seeing the wobbles not in my favor, heading directly toward my house. Um, but I'm also seeing, the possibility that if it slows another 3 or 6 hours, that it could weaken more. Now, I would tell you one thing. This is just a little aside. You got your weather here. My wife and I starting to plan toward retirement someday, 5, 6 months in the warmth, hopefully. Don't worry. It's a few years out at least. I said, hey, if I'm going to get a house there, I'm going to protect it. So I'm pretty calm right now. Why? Because I found the hurricane impact resistant windows that I like, Took me about 2 years, so I didn't get what I call the Florida ripoff. And those were installed 2 weeks ago by who I think is a pretty good builder, fairly straightforward job. So my house has every opening about as hurricane impact resistant as it can get. That doesn't mean that with a 90-mile-an-hour wind and an hour of heavy rain, they can't leak. Um, the window manufacturers will even say that. They're built to protect your home from having a hole in it and getting pressurized and all that stuff. So now it's just a waiting game for me and my wife, and our property manager is down there. I'm trying to help them best as I can up here, advise them, because this is, the hurricane thing down there, the thought from the people is the same as up here. Here comes a big snowstorm. Most of them miss us. And it's true. Most of the time, a severe weather situation will not get you. Severe weather situations always turn out to be more isolated than what the forecast and I think what us meteorologists portray. But the time where you're nailed by that storm, you go, wow, that was bad. Down there, I've got neighbors, they've got all kinds of theories why hurricanes have gone around Rotunda West, around Englewood, it will never hit it. And I tell them, no, that's not the case. Any one point in Florida, just because you got missed by the last 5 hurricanes doesn't mean they're all going around you. It's just a statistic. Not every hurricane can come right at your area of interest there. Otherwise, you'd live in the worst place on earth with hurricanes every year. Um, so there you go. All right. Well, there's the discussion for you. Here, we got showers, we've got chilly weather, we've got frost, and then we've got a great stretch of weather. It looks like it could last 7 days, maybe 10 to 12 days, starting about Thursday on. We're going to start to get the leaf change. So I'll look at that with you here. And then I'll try to keep you updated on the hurricane. Best thing again, NHC nhc.gov, nhc.noaa.gov, or National Hurricane Center. And there you go. So take care. Thanks for joining me on the MLive Morning Weather Update. We're still strong. We're still 230 people strong. And take care. Have yourselves a great day. I'm MLive Chief Meteorologist Mark Torregrossa.